Oh, thank you. I'm on the air. Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Honeychurch,
Here.
Trustee Cargo Reed,
Here.
Trustee Kara, Trustee Wynn Greer, Trustee Thurston, Trustee Young, Trustee Boyce,
Here.
Student Trustee Sharini Boston.
First item is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion from the board to approve the agenda? Thank you. So it's been moved, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Time for comments from members of the public on closed session. I gather there's no one requesting to speak. So we'll move into closed session and resume the regular meeting at 7 p.m.
It's just me and Dr. Butler today. Feels like an intervention, actually. I don't know. Maybe there's something, maybe I'm the last to know. Maybe.
Being 7 p.m. And first item on that score is report of action taken in closed session. I'll even turn on the microphone. And there was no action taken in closed session. Now is the opportunity for comments from members of the public, and we have no request to speak. First item is reports. Associated students are not, oh, they are. Okay, come on up. So it's report of the Associated Students.
Good evening, Governing Board Student President Honeychurch and Superintendent President Butler and the board. My name is Veronica Rodriguez, ASCC Governing Board Senator. Since we last spoke, ASSC has continued their work on several projects. We will also be co-hosting the 2 club promos on March 10th for the Vallejo Club promo and the Vacaville Open House on March 24th. We're going to try and open up ASSC to the satellite campus as well as spread awareness to things that are happening at the school, including the van pool and the ASSC election this semester. In both events, we'll be tabling and helping promote clubs to increase engagement. Additionally, ASSC hosted their semester retreat at the start of March. This semester's board retreat included team bonding as well as wellness workshops and Dr. Butler giving a presentation on the 9+1 student rights. On one of our continuing projects this semester is further developing our partnership with the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. This will include working with SSCCC to host trainings for ASSC and all the clubs. This past week, students in ASSC went to Washington, D.C. to partake in the National Student Advocacy Conference. The conference that is typically centered around issues critical to the success and persistence of community college students changed their approach this year and focused solely on federal student aid. 4 ASSC members, including our student trustee, attended the National Student Advocacy Conference in Washington, D.C. During this conference, it became evident that the country is prioritizing the protection of students, particularly those who are undocumented, through the designation of a sanctuary campus For the insights shared at the conference, it is clear that many students do not fully understand what a safe and secure campus entails. The label sanctuary immediately signals a commitment to their protection. At the March 5th governing board meeting, the governing board voted 4-3 in favor of passing resolution number 24 out of 25-14 commitment to a safe and secure campus for all students at Solano Community College. We appreciate the board's dedication to protecting our students, but must voice our concern with the killing of the motion to include the term sanctuary in the resolution. Although the associated students of Solano College along many community alleys and advocated for the inclusion of explicit language declaring Solano Community College a sanctuary campus, the community's request was not granted. We would like to reiterate our firm belief that SCC should be designated a sanctuary campus. Despite understanding the board's decision to protect our students, specifically to protect federal funding, one thing has become very clear at the conference. Our students have learned that federal funding is under attack regardless of holding the label of sanctuary campus or not. This is something that colleges across the nation are worried about. The use of the term sanctuary campus is not about our students not knowing how to read the documents that the college administration have tirelessly worked on, but rather it's an abbreviated statement that we stand by our students and their community. We look forward to bringing back the knowledge gained from the conference to ASSC and continuing our advocacy for the establishment of a sanctuary campus at Solano Community College. We are eager to engage in productive discussions with the governing board to explore this important issue further. Thank you for listening.
All right, thanks very much for your report, Ms. Rodriguez.
Okay.
Sir, of course.
That question I am not sure of, but
I can answer the question.
You can answer it? Thank you,
Yes,
Dr. Butler.
so the Director of Student Life requests the funds from the Superintendent President's office.
All right, no other questions? Thank you. Appreciate it. You're spending your time with us. Next report is Academic Senate, Joshua Scott. That's the floor.
Good evening. I did want to just affirm what our colleagues at ASSC shared, that the Senate also did request that the sanctuary campus designation be put forward several months ago. Otherwise, we had, as I think you're mostly aware, a Flex event, right, last week. And Laura Mahoney on the part of the DE committee, Andrew Wesley on part of assessment, really helped lead some robust conversations around specifically when it came to, remember we have 4 accreditation findings, right? One, the need to make sure we're engaging in assessment on a substantive level where courses are being assessed and that assessment is being used to inform everything from fiscal and other sort of planning decisions. That RSI, they're having regular substantive interaction between faculty and students, and they're in online classes specifically, and that's being able to be documented and shown, that we're having integrated planning, and finally that we're engaging in regular policy and board policy and procedures. So we were really focusing on RSI and assessment and really trying to help faculty understand sort of what the accreditation finding entailed, and then to really begin to do a lot more of the good work of addressing it. We talked at real length of, especially with assessment, the importance of seeing that integrated with a larger integrated planning process, so that as assessments are happening, they are informing everything from program review to fiscal decisions and others. And this is something which we, I think I've mentioned in past updates as well, as a real priority to faculty and the academic senate, and I believe the college as a whole. We're doing, I think, really good work here with RSI again. On our next meeting, we're going to be a Senate meeting next Monday. We're going to be talking about passing sort of the next level of procedure regarding sort of the possibility of affirming certain sort of training processes, right? Some of this, right? Of sort of how do we really, as a faculty, make sure that this sort of regular contact is happening, right? Because a lot of this, was initially implemented during COVID, where a lot of faculty very quickly transitioned from in-person to online classes. We didn't have the same level of robust conversations about like what does good interaction look like? Like, should faculty be getting involved in every discussion forum in an online class? Should they be giving students more feedback one-on-one? Should they be posting videos, right? So a lot of these conversations we've been having, and we've been having them often at departmental levels, but not necessarily at the larger campus level. And so I think it's a really good chance for us to be doing that. We're also doing really good work hiring the 11 new full-time faculty members. Sal is not here today, but HR, I've been communicating a lot with him directly, working a lot to make sure that the many faculty and the hiring committees are all participating in this. And then we have students on these hiring committees as well in many cases. We also have been talking with Sal, and there's something we've been going on, kind of connects to some of the board policy stuff as well, of making sure we have an updated faculty hiring manual. We've been talking about some of the procedures around that. The board policy for hiring was last updated in the early 2000s, so we're really wanting to bring that forward to you all soon. So look for more information on that coming up. We did meet in Vallejo during our last Senate meeting on the last Monday. We had a chance to tour the ATEX Center. We also really were talking about how we can really continue to build strong relationships with the community in Vallejo. And one idea that kept on rising to the top is dual enrollment, something that's come up in this board policy to the board as well. Obviously, we already are engaging in dual enrollment, but really wanting to be strategic. We have a task force that just met a few days ago that really was made up of both deans as well as faculty to really talk about sort of how we can be strategic so that we're really meeting specifically the Vision 2030 mission of targeting students who might otherwise really not see themselves in college, and how to really target those, how to really make sure that we're engaging in CTE. And again, I think there's a real opportunity to serve the Vallejo students specifically, as we've recently had high school shut down, decrease in enrollment, some of these things. And there's a lot of families looking for alternatives, and we really want to be there and provide that for them. We're going to be meeting next Monday on the 24th, the same time that the students are meeting for the club promo. We'll be in Vacaville. So we'll have a chance to be really talking about how our Vacaville campus is doing, how to make sure we're supporting it well. And so that'll be a chance to bring some attention there as we're going. And that concludes my update.
All right, thank you for your report. Are there questions?
Yes, may I have a question?
Sure, go
President
ahead.
Honeychurch. You said you're meeting in the Vacaville next Monday, March 24th. What time?
So the Senate meeting is from 3 to 5 p.m.
Okay.
And it's they're in the I can't remember the exact room number, but on the.
I apologize. So it's not a tour, it's just a meeting.
So we are before the Senate meeting, like we did in Vallejo. There will be an opportunity to take a tour of the Vacaville campus. So anybody who wants to, can come at 2:45, and there'll be a tour there.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trustee Carr?
Enrollment again with Vallejo, and what the steps are?
Well, so right now, in the Senate meeting where we focus on Vallejo, we're sort of trying to, as again, strategically talk about how to really target Vallejo community, get the word out, these sort of things. So we have a task force again, which just met, which is really developing some specific recommendations that will then be coming to the Senate meeting next month, and then we will continue to move and bring that here. So you will be hearing more about that soon. Yeah, but we haven't quite gotten to a place where we have like very specific policy. This is where we want to make sure we have all stakeholders involved, talking with administration, the larger community. But it is very much a priority.
President, could you talk about how the administration is dealing with the possibility of dual enrollment?
Of course, we've had dual enrollment for quite a number of years in all of our service areas. We had a particularly strong one with Jesse Bethel with the Pathway to Law School program. And as more and more high schools are trying to respond, as Josh was talking about, the interest in more high school students getting college credits upon by the time they graduate, we're engaging in more conversations with more schools. We're looking at the possibility or probably the necessity of hiring a coordinator for dual enrollment because it's extensive work. It requires a lot of reporting with the state, a lot of interaction with the schools. And so, as you know, there's a number of different kinds of dual enrollment. We certainly have a lot of Vallejo students already enrolled at the center, but we're working with Griffin Academy I met with them a week or two ago about a CCAP agreement with them and offering some more courses out there. We've worked with them in the past. So these are ongoing conversations, but it's a lot of work. And so we're looking at how we can expand our capacity to serve more students.
It's so important. Could we just one day have a sort of a study session on this? You know, if time's permitting, it would be really nice to kind of really get a plan going, or at least something that I can follow.
I think so. Again, we will be sort of bringing this forward. I think it could work really well to bring it back to the board for a study session after the set. So we're going to be meeting with faculty senate as well as academic deans and administrators to really talk through the recommendations of the task force. Once those are concrete, I think coming forward and bringing them to you is an excellent idea.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Trustee Kara. You brought up a very good point about, a study, program there. The task force you were mentioning about, Mr. Scott, is there an opportunity to also bring that to Vacaville as well? Because I had coffee with BUSD board president Nancy Dunn about a few weeks ago, and we were talking about the dual enrollment program and our interest in terms of for Vacaville as well. And so I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to bring that task force to Vacaville to open it up with experts, like you mentioned, the faculty and some experts there to talk about how we can move forward as well. So is there an opportunity for that?
Absolutely. I think there's a really important piece. I think this is what we're trying to, we were focusing on Vallejo during our last meeting and Vacaville at this upcoming one. But this realization that a lot of this is about relationships and really helping people see, but whether it's, actually meeting Solano College faculty and imagining them teaching people's, children, if, in the case of dual enrollment. So I think, us thinking about really strategic ways to interact with the Vacaville community and the Vallejo community is a really important part of it.
I would definitely be interested in helping in terms of the Vacaville community as well, and I'm pretty sure Trustee Cargo, Amber Reed is the same. I do have a follow-up question, but go ahead and then I'll follow up with the question. Oh, and then my question to you would be to VP Williams in regards to the programs out there. Is there a dual enrollment program here in the state of California in a community where they're doing it really well that perhaps we can hear from them, so then this way we can kind of take their model, sir, and then use it for for Solano Community College? Because why reinvent the wheel if there is a community college out there that is doing it really well?
Yeah, there's dual enrollment at every college in the state of California, and certainly there are some that have very close relationships. We have had very good close relationships with our districts in the past, where there's a bit of a capacity issue right now, because one of the things that we can't do is we can't offer a class at a high school that is oversubscribed on one of our campus. In other words, there's waiting lists. We're also running short on faculty. We have to have faculty to teach these courses, and so we've been recently working with our local school districts to see if they have teachers on their staff who meet California community college minimum qualifications. We're interviewing them, and if they pass the interview with discipline faculty, like a typical interview here at this campus, then we can make them an adjunct and allows them to teach at the college. So we're building those arrangements now. Vacaville has had an early college program. It's called the VEX program, the Vacaville Early College High School. It's not the same structure as the Fairfield one we have with Rodriguez High School, where they're actually on our campus. The VEX program is run out of Vacaville is more, it's more of an interaction where the high school lets the students know what college classes are available at the center and they take it, but it's not as well structured as some programs. But again, that rests with the school district in Vacaville, and we continue to work with them to try to provide more opportunities.
Thank you so much, VP Williams, for your.
Question? Go ahead.
So you answered my question. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask, it was my understanding that we did have a pretty good dual enrollment in the Fairfield and Vacaville, even allowing the charter schools with the dual enrollment. In fact, my son goes to Buckingham, and they're constantly promoting Solano Community College with the students. Is very well done, and I'm very pleased to hear that, you know, with Vallejo, as long as our community, our county is having access to these programs, and that the young students realize the amazing opportunities wherever we're lacking. I appreciate that we might have a study session, of course, with Vallejo, and then how many. I thought we had a pretty strong dual enrollment in Vacaville, but if I'm wrong on that, please correct me.
My understanding, and this was, reported by like a parent, a senator who's also a parent in the Vallejo school system, is that the issue is, like you said, like that, yes, like any high school student, right, is eligible, can come here, but sort of how effectively are we communicating with, counselors in the local high schools, so that students who are interested or where this could really be an improvement for them, know that this is an option. And I think that's where the work is really to be done, is in the advertising and the information.
And it was free, isn't it? That's an amazing part of it. Like, I just actually found out, because it wasn't always that way many moons ago. So that's amazing to find out that it's free for the high school students to attend the courses.
Right. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
All right.
Wanted to mention is that Fairfield I've attended their graduation, and it's amazing what is accomplished in that program, which as a Vallejan, I'd love that if we had that option in Vallejo. Now I understand that there's a little bit, there's a lot of moving parts that seem to, I don't know, somehow Fairfield got it organized and Vallejo is still working on it. But that said, I really think a study session explaining what we do across the board really, because I know that we have things with Griffin. I know at one point we did Solano, and MIT had a program, but then they went to Contra Costa.
It's the same arrangement, same school.
Okay, but do you see what I mean? Is that there's a lot of things that maybe the parts are not really explained well enough for me. I'm not talking about anybody else on this board. And I'd like a little bit more hand-holding on this.
Yeah, I think more information is really good. And again, finding out ways to really get the information out to parents and families.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. So now we'll move on to the College Governance Council and the Superintendent's report. Dr. Butler?
Thank you. The college governance met on Wednesday, February 26th. We reviewed Administrative Procedure 3910.2, Access Control Procedure and Standard from IT, over procedures for creating new accounts and user provisioning. We reviewed BP 5175, which is coming back to the board this evening, responding to inquiries for information regarding immigration status, citizenship, and national origin, along with AP 2065 immigration enforcement activities. The Inter-Campus Van Pool pilot program was showcased, and we received an update on the development of the new student equity plan, equity and achievement plan, Plan 3.0, which is currently being developed. Lastly, we received a nomination to name the new quad in honor of former Superintendent President Dr. Celia Esposito Noy for her incredible contributions and leadership at the college, and that will be coming to the board later. That's the end of my report for college governance. And then the SP updates. We had the crab feed, which many of you attended, which was a huge success. Trustee Cargo Reed, Trustee Wynn Greer, Trustee Thurston, Trustee Voice, and Trustee Young were in attendance. They are still waiting for the final numbers for the crab feed, but they estimate close to $20,000 raised, approximately 550 guests, 12 corporate sponsors, 10 campus clubs that will receive funds for their volunteer hours, approximately 40 early college students who earned 192 community service hours, and 3 Boy Scout troops that earned approximately 100 community service hours volunteering. So that was really cool, and they were well represented. The college has also experienced a few successes since the last time I updated. Just today, I believe an article came out. The Solano Community College AMEND chapter, which stands for African American Male Education Network and Development. They won 2025 Knowledge Bowl at the recent conference against 15 competing colleges, and they also won Chapter of the Year against 53 other charters, and the competition is connected to their grade point average and how well they are doing in their classes. And they were very excited. Several of the students also received academic scholarships. In addition to the immense success, our Phi Theta Kappa students have also been very successful. So the Catalyst conference is coming up. Several of the students have won awards. Our advisors will both be awarded. I had to write it down because it's the Phi Theta Kappa chapter advisor of the year, and then Michael Wiley, who has received Advisor of the Year in 2024, will also receive Phi Theta Kappa's 2025 Distinguished Chapter Advisor Award. We also had several students, Samantha Cruz, Shada Julius, Megan Cruz Wingo, who were named All California Academic Team. And additionally, Samantha Cruz has earned honors at the international level, and one of our students, Grant Von Payne, has been named runner-up for Poet Laureate of Nevada and California Division of PTK. And they're really cool. And then lastly, our speech and debate team excelled at state championships. They brought home 6 medals, including a state champion gold in informative speaking. Malika Amin Mirador was the state champion. We also had Tyler Sashabushi, who won a silver in IPDA debate, which is just the International Performance and Debate. Nathan Whitmire and Monica Guerra won bronze for parliamentary debate. And then Malika and Tyler Sashabushi also won a bronze in parliamentary debate. And we are proud of these students and their successes and wish them great luck. And lastly, Jeff Cardinal, head coach of the women's soccer team, invites us all to the Solano College Women's Soccer Banquet, which will be held Saturday, March 29th at 6 p.m. in the back half of the gym. And this concludes my update.
All right, thanks very much. I see 2 hands up. So I'm going to call on Marie Young first.
Okay, is that on now?
It's on.
Can you hear me? Okay. I would love for all this information you just shared with us to be shared with the community. And we have to pay for an article in the local newspapers. Because I know all these positive things about our students, but the public doesn't know. I would like to, if we could share this with the public, what's going on now. I take the electronic copy of the newspaper and the printed copy coming to my house. I see what's going on with the sports at Solano College when they won a soccer game, a baseball game. I see that. But there are things like you read, that's not shared with the public. They don't know. I know it because I'm sitting on the board. But it should be shared with the public.
We have shared press releases. So I know the amend just came out today, and I can resend that one. And then I'll look for, because I thought the PTK came out, but if it hasn't, I'll look for that.
Do you have to pay for the electronic articles going to being printed electronically?
I'm not sure. If you
Maybe
have
someone
to
can
pay.
check on that, which means you could put all of that in there. A lot of people now take the electronic copy and not the hard copy.
I
in the
will
various
double
newspapers,
check.
because the public needs to know what these students are doing here.
All right, thank
I don't
you.
want us to be kept the best kept secret.
That's right. Trustee Carr, you had a question?
Yeah, about naming of the quad.
Mhm.
I'm curious at how we go about naming our facilities. I was under the impression it had to do, I mean, for example.
There is a policy.
Yes.
No, there's a policy, but if there's a policy, I'm amazed that it's only one person gets presented.
There is a policy with the process that accompanies, and there is a list of signatures that you have to receive, and then with the naming comes monetary responsibility of a plaque if named.
But do we pass it on to, like, for example, the student association? I mean, I really, however we slice it, it seems to me like perhaps our due diligence could be better.
At sharing the process.
Sharing the process and pushing the process so that the young people that we're representing have a say in it. I mean, there's a lot of very interesting people in this world. I mean, why are we limiting ourselves to just people that get paid to do a good job?
May I follow up? May I follow up? Thank you. I completely agree with Trustee Kara there. I'm kind of wondering if there's a process. Does the public, just what Trustee Young was saying about like all this wonderful report that President Butler was sharing with us about the amazing things that are happening with our students, with the speech and debate team. I'm wondering, is there a public process perhaps that we should share with the public to let them know? Because if we share it with the public, then they know like, hey, there's things happening here. Perhaps we can engage with the public and then bring that out there to them. And then they can be like, there are wonderful individuals in our community that perhaps deserve an opportunity for that chance. Just a thought. I heard great things about the previous superintendent president. I'm not saying anything about that, but just about the process involved.
All right, thanks for those comments. Well, we're going to move on now to the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion on these items prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed or removed. Time will be provided before the vote for clarification questions without removing an item from the consent agenda. So with that said, and I'm required to read that, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. There are no items removed, so we're on to item 13, which is non-consent agenda items, action items. The first of which is approval of board policy 5175, responding to inquiries of immigration. Dr. Butler.
Thank you. This is the second reading of this policy 5175, responding to inquiries of immigration status, citizenship, and national origin information in compliance with AB 21 and SB 54, ensuring that Solano is a safe and secure and inclusive campus, and we are asking the board to approve this policy.
I move that we approve item 13A.
I'll second it, and that'll open
We're
it
gonna
for
have-
discussion. Yeah, so I'll second that.
Thank you. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Trustee Carr, do you have a question or?
I didn't catch this before, so obviously I'm derelict in my duty, so great apologies. But what I was concerned about is the use of discourage in the second bullet point, discourage collaboration with immigration agencies for non-enforcement activities. I didn't think that that was the type of word that we wanted to use in this particular case. It's, if you Google discourage, it's, if you know, synonyms are quite weak. I understand why we're kind of watering down this, but what I'm trying to say is maybe we can say the same thing without saying discourage. To me, discourage is also encouraging.
All right, is that a motion to amend?
I'm looking for a stronger word, or a word that doesn't, you know, collaboration with immigration agencies for non-enforcement activities. Non-enforcement activities are
Well, because,
prohibited.
so the non-enforcement activities are the activities that aren't covered in the law.
Exactly.
So, if you are looking for a stronger word, we could say something to the effect of limit collaboration with immigration agencies for non-enforcement activities in accordance with.
Yeah, that I would feel comfortable with. I limit seems to me gives the right sort of public stance here. Well,
So is that a
sounds-
motion?
There needs
Yeah,
to be a motion.
that, yes, I would like that motion. Will you repeat that again?
Well, it's just changing the word
Here too, and see,
discourage to limit.
Discourage, limit collaboration with immigration agencies for non-enforcement activities.
Accordance with, and it would be AB 21 and SB 50.
what's she talking about, this word here, deterred?
So is there a second to the motion to amend the?
Oh, discouraged, okay.
The motion is
thought she was talking about
to
deterred.
change the word discourage to limit, and then add
And add in accordance with AB 21 and SB 54.
Hold on, sorry, I think we have dueling emotion.
I think we have
now. Hold on.
we have to have a vote on the motion to amend it,
A second.
and so.
Sorry, my apologies. I was suggesting, you know, if the maker and the second of the motion are fine with the small change, we can make it a friendly motion that it doesn't need a second. It doesn't need a motion different.
All right.
That would
So,
be great.
yeah,
All right,
and
so-
I think we're on the same page. So
All right,
I
so
think we're fine, yeah.
the motion will now be to limit collaboration with immigration agencies for non-enforcement activities in compliance with AB 21 and SB 54. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that,
I do have a discussion, just continue discussion, not on that item.
okay, well, anyway, that's the motion now is changing the language as stated. So that's the motion on the floor. Others or further discussion?
Yeah, just to clarify, it'll change our motion to approving with that friendly.
All right.
change. Yeah. So, but I just wanted to touch base on this one. I firstly, I also wanted to thank, I know our student needed to go, but Senator Rodriguez, I think made our admonishment really clear on those pieces. I'm less concerned about sanctuary being in our policy because that's really inward facing. You know, that's for us and how the campus works. But I did want to like touch base on it in this when we're willing to do the actions. I just want to encourage us to not give up without a fight on some of these things. There are so many words that, you know, our fearless leader is not happy with, and I think that is not a great criteria for evaluating whether we should be using some words, because you know diversity, equity, and inclusion have gotten way stronger of attacks. We've had pretty direct attacks about using transgender in our things. Bizarrely, he's also against transgenic, which is when you move genes from one thing to another, which we have transgenic labs in our micro, but I think it's because he just doesn't understand what transgenic is. So I think I just wanted to share that there's lots of words that we're going to come across, and I think it sends a bad message to start using what we're scared about to be the criteria for what we include. Just, there's so many programs that are fundamental to what we do that use these words like diversity, equity, inclusion, transgender, and even transgenic. So just wanted to share that.
All right, thank you. I think we're all on this, pretty much on the same page. I just saw Vice President, whatever his name is, say
Williams? Williams?
that their message was to destroy universities. Good night. Heard that. Anyway, so, any other comments on this motion? Which is the motion to approve the policy on immigration status, citizenship, and national origin information. So with that, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is more pleasant, I promise, which is the bond issues, change orders, and so on. Lucky Lofton, is he with us tonight?
Lucky has delegates on the Zoom who are present.
To whom?
There are delegates who should be on the Zoom. I believe Jason Yee and Noe. I can't remember.
It's very scary.
Well, there they are. Well, there they are.
They're
There they
there.
They are.
All right. Good evening. Hello. So we have just moved our agenda on to the bond issues. First of which is a change order to Net Electric for the Vallejo campus security enhancement project.
President Honeychurch, if there's no objection, may I make a motion to open discussion for items
I'd
13?
invite the motion.
I thought you might like that. I'll get one good point with you today. I'll make the motion to approve item 13, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, which are all bonds items, and that can open discussion for all of those bonds items.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Been moved and seconded to approve each of those items. So thank you for coming to the meeting tonight. Did you have some comments you wish to make about each of these items?
No,
Or not?
I'm just happy to explain.
Also, you probably need to turn on your microphone.
Can you all hear me?
Thank you.
Good evening, all. Can you hear
So
me?
we can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Is there a volume? Where's our correct?
Because I have a couple of questions.
Can you all hear me? Good evening, trustees.
All right, so what are your questions, and see if they can,
Well, hi, can you hear us now?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I can
You can
hear
hear
you. I don't think you can hear us.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, what I'd like is actually for you to talk me through with these. Explain to us and the people that are watching us and the people of Vallejo what they are getting for their money.
well, they're getting change orders. To
Well, I
projects.
know, but let's just,
Yes, ma'am. Can you
Well, if you
hear
can't
me?
hear them, it's kind of pointless. Can you answer
I
our
can.
trustee has a
No.
question, but
can't hear.
Can
we can't hear you?
I can.
So
Okay, well,
I guess,
it is what it is.
I'm sorry. Can y'all, hello? I don't think they can hear me.
just a moment, we're trying to correct the volume. I have a hearing aid and I can't hear it.
Got it. Good evening, all. Just I can hear this, but the board room cannot. Trustees, can you all hear me?
Yeah, but
Maybe we should skip the questions on the change orders, since they're
I
not
can
significant.
certainly answer them. It's just I don't know if I.
All right, we'll start over.
Good evening, trustees. Can y'all hear me? Hello. Good evening.
yes.
Can you hear
I've got
me?
no pride.
Good evening, all. Trustees? Good evening. Can you hear me? Testing, 1, 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jason, just use your outside voice and
Okay,
speak loudly.
I'll try my best, VP Williams. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, all right, forgive me because I'm kind of yelling, but I don't intend to yell at all. So the first item up is the change order number 3 for Net Electric. And that's just a deductive change order for the amount of the owner's allowance that was not used. So that's a return in funds back to the district for funds that were not used during the project. So this is a good one. The next item is the change order for Arthulia for the B1400 doors. And this is a no-cost schedule extension, and that's a result of material delays. We've been trying to get the material delays, but there have been delays that haven't allowed us to keep on track of the schedule. So we're asking the board to approve an extension to the original contract duration. Item number 13D is an amendment for our solar consultant for the solar project. Now, this one is we are one of the first colleges to take on this endeavor for a battery system. And that is a good thing, but then also it can be challenging because we're going through the process while it is being developed now. So it's been a challenge to get through DSA, especially with the battery system, because they've never reviewed a battery system before. So they're developing all these tests and requirements as we go along. In addition to that, the review for PG&E has been extraordinarily long. There are, I believe there's been back and forth with PG&E regarding components of our system now that they would like changed. So we're going through the process now of updating the drawings and making those changes. Unfortunately, PG&E won't give us a permit to operate until all of these issues are addressed. So it's a bit of a waiting game, and we have to extend these consultants that are helping us get through this process. Let's see, question or 13E. So this one is an extension for the inspector of record for the central plant project. This one has been a very challenging one from the beginning because it was simply, or not simply, but the original project was very complex to replace the main central plant boilers and chillers and the cooling tower. During the course of construction, we found several leaks on campus from old pipes that were underwater that maybe shouldn't have been. So it's been a challenge working on the original project while fixing all of these leaks that have been popping up during the entire duration of the project. So it's, one step forward, 2 steps back. So as we're working through all of these issues and making the system much healthier, we have to have these folks help us and guide us through these repairs to do them properly so they hold for, a very, very long time. Number 13F. So 13F, G, and H have to do with each other. And this is a project to replace the exhaust system in the dynamometer engine room at the Vallejo Auto Tech building. About a year and a half ago, we had an unfortunate incident that created a little fire there. Luckily, no one was hurt. Everyone is safe, but unfortunately, some equipment got damaged. So this project is to replace the damaged equipment in addition to hiring a material testing company and a special inspections a firm and an inspector of record, which are both required by DSA. I failed to mention that this is a full DSA project, so there'll be some hoops to jump through, for lack of a better way of putting it. So that kind of concludes my brief summary. If anyone has any questions, feel free to fire away.
Thank you. So, Trustee Kara?
What I was concerned about is the Vallejo Center Security Enhancement Project. If I remember last time, we had a discussion about more cameras. And I just was wondering, okay, so we're getting 29,000 back. I'm just wondering, can you talk to us about the security since we've had problems with the campus? I didn't quite understand what's happening.
Yes, ma'am.
And I could be wrong. I'm just asking for clarification.
Sure. Can you hear me, Trustee Carr?
Yes, yeah.
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so when this issue was first brought to the bond team, their goal was to evaluate the campus as it was by having a consultant come and do an assessment. And at the time, it was determined there was a specific scope of work to improve the security there. Now, Trustee Carr, I think you may be alluding to the recent vandalism that we've had there. Am I correct?
Yes. And the new
Yeah.
cameras.
I'm sorry, on the cameras?
No, didn't we order new cameras? Not last month, but the month before?
Yes, but part of the issue is the vandalism and the wires, the copper wires, so they limited the ability of the operation of the lights and the cameras.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Superintendent Dr. Butler is correct. Yeah, subsequent to almost completing the project, we got hit or we got vandalized, and we had a lot of our copper wires for the lights and the electrical system stolen in the parking lot. So once we approved the repairs of those, unfortunately, we got vandalized again approximately about 2 weeks later. And so before we were finished with repairing the initial repairs, we had to add on a second layer of an approval of those repairs. And unfortunately, I'm sorry to say that we got hit for a third time after that. And I think the decision at that point was to increase security in the area with the help of DPS. And I believe now that there's an overnight security guard that patrols the area.
All right, well, thank you for answering those questions.
Well,
Like,
You have more?
More.
Well,
may I, please?
yeah, I just think a lot of this should be covered before the meeting,
Well,
not
no.
at the meeting.
Actually, I think it's important that it's covered at the meeting because there's an audience that's
Well,
watching
all
us.
right, ask your question, let's go.
And the money that we're talking about is money that is
It's
community
coming
mobile.
back to us, 29,000 coming back to us. Why disapprove that?
Not
Go ahead, ask your
disapproving.
question.
Don't get angry with me. This is not situation.
Ask your question.
So if we've had 3 situations of vandalism, and it's a problem.
It's Vallejo.
Pardon me?
It's Vallejo.
Excuse me?
It's a crime-ridden city. Their police department's not effective. Go ahead, ask your question.
Have we taken steps to avoid this from happening again?
yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
In a, I mean, presumably 3 times lucky means that we didn't take steps before.
So I'll answer that because it's not Jason's job, but when the repairs were being made, we assumed they must be watching the repair process and hitting and they knew how to navigate so that they weren't captured on the camera. So we have moved to hire in-person security to be there 24/7, so that there isn't an opportunity when no one's looking, so that they can hit the campus.
If I may interject, since we've had the overnight security, we have not been vandalized since.
Any other questions? All right, so is there, we'll vote on the motion. The motion's been moved and seconded to approve change orders B through H. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is item I, but Academic Affairs, Vice President David Williams is the presenter.
Thank you, President Honeychurch and members of the board. Our curriculum chair, Jim DeClos, is here tonight to present our curriculum items.
Great time.
We're presenting to you for final approval some curriculum changes. Let me highlight a few that we are extending the offerings in journalism, and we have a school newspaper once again, the Solano Pulse, and it's entirely online. But remember the old Tempest? We had a hiatus, and now we're back. Okay, excellent. And then the other major changes are we have multiple changes that have been forwarded by our nursing department, and much of that was in response to a visit by their accreditors and making responses to the recommendations by their accreditors. In addition, we have a revitalized art course called African Ancient and Indigenous American Art, and we are vitalizing that and adding that with one of our most enthusiastic faculty members, more enthusiastic than I am, Ferd. So anyway, that is presented to you for your.
Professor DeClos, if I also might make one, there's a typo on the curriculum list on page 43. Under new courses, it says journalism 61, news production and publication 4. That should actually be journalism 63. 61 is also on the list down below, and I didn't want you to think that we had two courses with the same number. So the correct course got approved, but we just had a little typo on the document. So my apologies for that.
Thank you for that clarification. We haven't had a motion, so thank you. Is there a motion to approve the curriculum items as outlined?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much.
Your timing is excellent.
Yes,
Thank you.
I view this as the most important committee on campus, including because curriculum is at the core of our mission. So
Thank you.
we are working hard on the curriculum committee, and thank you, David.
Thank you for your work on this, everyone. All right, next item then is information items. Is there any? There are not. Announcements? There are none, apparently.
Just really quickly, I announced it in closed session, but I wanted to go on record. We wanted to recognize Trustee Marie Young's birthday, Friday, March 21st. She is 85 years young. Thank you, Trustee Young, for your service.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Honeychurch, I don't want to make things awkward, but I do want to invite us as a board to apologize for your statement about Vallejo. You speak for the board, and I don't think that represents all of our view of Vallejo. All of our cities have crime to an extent. Like we're actively trying to be better with Vallejo, and so I think that was a bit of an inappropriate comment.
Probably. All right, thank you. Any other items from the board? I'm well aware Fairfield has a lot of crime, mostly around my building. Yeah, true. All right, there's no closed session, and so at this time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All those in favor of the motion to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.